herself, how she'll view her people, because she'll never grow up with the stigma of thinking that, well, black people can't be authors, or I don't know an author. So that right there is something that really changes the dynamic of how we view ourselves as a people. So I've actually written 5 books. I'm not going to be able to talk about all of them tonight, but I'm going to deal with a few things from some of the trauma that we've dealt with. So my brother with the three divorces, you were talking earlier, and I said, I got something for my brother right here. I wrote a book entitled Broken Pillars. It's understanding the men, supporting the weight of their families without dealing with their own brokenness. Now, I counsel men, and when I was counseling men, what I found was that even though they love their spouses, they were destroying their own relationships because they were broken. And the universe, or the law of the universe, says that you don't attract that which you want, you attract that which you are. And so I'm not trying to blame you, but what I'm saying is, as men, sometimes we have to understand some of the brokenness that we are dealing with, because if you're not upfront about, if you don't want to accept it, if you don't want to talk about your brokenness, you'll continue to destroy your relationship over and over and over. I had guys literally coming to me wanting help to fix their relationships, but they was the ones that was destroying it, all because of the psychological trauma. So I had one guy who was head over heels for his girl, but again, he was destroying it because of what the world has been teaching a man is supposed to be. So him and his girlfriend both worked at a hospital, but she had a few degrees. So she was making like $40-something an hour. He was only making like 16 because all he was doing was pushing the cart. But he was always taught that a man was supposed to provide. And he says, I don't even know how to be her man. See, when you have this kind of psychological trauma because you're forced in some kind of box. You're forced in what my mentor calls the man box, where you have to be the provider, or you have to be tough, or you have to fix things. And when you can't do any of those things, or something in you that's outside of the box, the world's going to call you not manly. So now I got to quench and suppress who I really am in order to fit what's in this box. And that works for a while, but after sometimes who you really are comes out, and you begin to destroy your own relationship because she didn't sign up for the man that you really were, because you was acting like you was somebody else. And so we have to deal with those kind of traumas and understanding who we are as men, get out of our minds what the world has told us a man was. And women also, you have to understand that men are dealing with some stuff. We got emotions too. Now, the world has told all of us that men don't have emotions, but every time I have some kind of counseling, group counseling, I got a bunch of men crying. Because we cry. But if our women don't understand that we cry, and if we perpetuate this image that we don't cry, what happens? Now, I got all this bottled up rage, and you wonder why I tripped out one day because you left the refrigerator open. It's because I wasn't even allowed to get out the things that were inside of me. So I wrote that book, Broken Pillars. It's understanding the men that are supporting the weight of their families, but they haven't dealt with their own brokenness. And so also for the men, I wrote the 6 A's of manhood for African American men, specifically for us to understand what it really means to be a man. Not the image that the news is going to show of us, not the image that TV or Empire or Power is going to show us. We got 4 hit series. We got Power, Scandal, How to Get Away with Murder, and Empire. And none of them show a positive image of none of us. Not a positive looking man, not a positive looking woman, and we have all of these negative images of our people, and psychologically it's called inference. If you show me doing something long enough, I'll begin to believe that's how I'm supposed to behave. And so through the music and through the movies, we see these images, and we're trying to figure out why these young guys acting so crazy, because psychologically they believe I'm supposed to kill somebody. Psychologically, they believe I'm supposed to sell drugs. I'm supposed to sleep around with all these different women. But so that's why I wrote this book, to show the men a real image of what it means to be a man. So the 6 A's are, for one, accept your role as leader. We have too many men who have decided, I don't want to lead women. I'm going to let y'all go run and do everything. And now we got some women that don't even say, I want a man, but I don't need a man. Why? Because we forced y'all to feel like that. We got so many independent women because our men gave up on our women. Our men didn't support our women. And so now I wrote this book and said, man, accept your role. You are a leader. The second one is the second one is answer the cries of your communities. In counseling, what I always teach people is the whys are more important than the whats. What you do means nothing. Everything is about why you do what you do. And we'll never change the conditions of what's going on in our neighborhoods if we keep looking at symptoms as problems.
Yes.
The young guy that's selling the drugs ain't the problem. That's a symptom. Shooting somebody isn't the problem. That's the symptom. And until you realize what they're doing as cries that men need to stand up and stop, you'll always just force those guys into jail and count them out. And I was that guy. I was counted out. Nobody would have ever believed that I would be who I am today if you looked at my track record. You'd have said, this guy's definitely going to be dead or in jail the rest of his life, but I'm here and I understand. I knew that I needed somebody. I was crying out with my actions, needing a man to step up. The third one, man, is alleviate the stress from your women. We gotta stop putting extra burdens on our women, especially when it comes to raising our children. We have too many men who have forced our women to be the mother and the father to the point where women think that's a badge of honor. No, it's not. It's a shame. And it's a problem because the men are allowing these women to, I don't want to say these women to make it sound bad. Excuse me if that offended anybody. But us men have forced extra roles on the women that they should not be in, all because we have not stepped up to the plate and do what we're supposed to do. The fourth A is be available. When I grew up, it was a bunch of drug dealers who had the heart of gold, is what I say. You know why? Because they took the time to teach me everything they knew, give me all the knowledge that was in their mind, give me all of the products that they had. But no positive man was available for me. No positive man showed me this is how you change a tire or show me what they do at their job. They weren't available. So man, you have to be available for your community, for your family, for your wife. We have to be available. The fifth A is assume your God-given purpose. Now, we have all been created for some kind of task. One of the brothers said earlier that we all have a group of people that we are supposed to do something for, and that is true. And the reason why a lot of people are struggling, just as he said, is because the individuals who are supposed to be helping them have said, I don't got nothing, that ain't my problem. I'm cool. And I always tell people, I cannot be satisfied with the only one on my block with a big TV, because sooner or later somebody climbing in my window. Right. So you are, what's affecting everybody else is always going to be my problem if I'm the only one that's doing good. And the last A is never abdicate. And abdicate means to renounce your throne. We have to understand the kingship, the royalty that we are as African descendants, and what white supremacy has done to us. And yes, I say that, what has done to us was cause us to think that we're not who we are. And since they can't take your power, they convince you that you're not who you are, so you will renounce yourself. And so now I don't gotta call you nigga no more because you'll call yourself a nigga. Now, I ain't got to make a law for you not to read, but you won't read on your own. And no, I don't got to kill you and lynch you no more because y'all going to kill each other. You have renounced your throne. And that is just a quick synopsis of the 6 A's of Manhood. I'm rushing through this, John. And the last book that I have with me is my newest book. It's called The Great Hijack. It's dealing with the stealing of the black talented 10th through a system of self-hate. And it really breaks down, we understand what self-hate is. Self-hate makes us want to disassociate from all of our blackness. It's just a very shame. We just seen in South Africa, they were telling the South African girls that their natural hair was inappropriate. In fact, there was say it again. Yeah, there was just a court ruling that dreadlocks are inappropriate for business. That's a court ruling. A job can discriminate on you for having this hairstyle. Yes, yes, yes. And so they use a bevy of different things to get us to buy into certain stuff for us to perpetuate our own self-hate. Now I'll give you a quick example. Now I am a public speaker. I've been a public speaker for 10 years. And my mouth is mad dry right now. I don't know why. I drunk my water. and right now, I'm me. This is who I am. This is how I speak. This is not always how I spoke. I used to be a corporate speaker, and so when I would go into the places and I would have to speak a certain way, and I had to talk with a certain tone because I wanted to articulate my message a certain way, and I was a fraud. No, but see, this again, but how do they get me to buy into that? See, they've dictated what's professional. And if I buy into what they tell me is professional, I can then begin to believe my own voice is unprofessional. My own hair can be unprofessional. And when it really causes a problem is once I buy into this because I want to get into these certain places, I believe it so much, I'm going to judge you because you don't want to speak like me. And I'm going to judge you because you don't want to dress like me. And now I don't want to help you because you don't really want to help, because if you want to help, you would do what you're supposed to do. And so this book chronicles what this system of self-hate is, the inception of it, the goal of it, and how they use economics, entertainment, education, etiquette, and news. Five working parts of the system of self-hate that constantly reinforce one another to obtain or to attain the goal of the system of self-hate, which is to separate us, to keep us from building. Because I am one unapologetically pro-black individual who is for the building and uplifting of my people. And so everything I write is going to deal with something like that to really help our people change our mind, because again, I deal with the mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial repair that for the traumas that we have dealt with in those areas. And so in the nutshell,